I don't know whether it's morning or afternoon. Let me just check the clock. Oh, right. I think it's 11:30. So, a little bit of a difference here, or maybe you'd say a big bit of a difference here, because I've been pruning. And the reason why I'm pruning today and cutting and coppicing is because my helper, who was going to do the washing of the outside of the polytunnel, isn't able to come today. Might be able to turn up here tomorrow. But anyway, so yes, myself and Jack have been out here in rather cold weather. I've taken off my coat and my mitts and my hat. I've just come out now with the camera to make a very quick video. Oh, look at that wind. To show you the results of the coppicing and pruning done this morning. So first of all, the bay tree here, I had fed the bay tree, which is why it grew these ginormous leaves. So now that the food has diminished in that part of the bed, it was time to give it a really good prune. Because if you remember from previous videos, a year, it was last year that I pruned it, this was a real bush and I had to lollipop it to get it into this classic bay tree shape. So I've taken a massive amount off it this morning. Does look a little bit stark, but that's going to come on really well, and it's got a good solid shape now. So by about July, that should be looking fabulous. Been working away, spreading more chippings on this bed, so that's got a good deep layer on it now. Doing a massive amount of logging of all the willow that I've coppiced, and you can see all the bark that comes off in the shredder, so that goes over to the compost heap. Or sometimes I make little kind of kindling balls from it, you know, I kind of wind it up a bit like wool, but I don't know if I've got time to do that now at the moment. A lot more shreddings and chippings. I'll just go over here. These are some of the willow trees really that I've been coppicing today, and also I've lollipopped and given a really good prune to this bay tree here at the end of this bed. So you can see the massive amount of bay that's come off this. Now this is sweet bay, so the perfume in the air at the moment is just beautiful. So that's been given a fairly good shape. I'll go back in later on in the year and give it another light pruning, just to give it a bit more of a sort of classic bay tree shape. But also, I mean, the practical reason why I do this is to make sure that the bay, the sweet bay, that grows so vigorously here, isn't allowed to take over. Because if you have one species taken over, you then begin to get a little bit of a monoculture. So I don't want it taken over. I want plenty of light to get to the lower part of the bed. And the same with the bay over there on the veranda. And you can see now just how well that looks. So it's going to let lots and lots of light through. So up here I've taken all the willow down from in there. All that lovely thick stuff, which has given me a massive amount of potential logs. So I've just been stacking the poles here, well, some of the poles, because I've already logged up some of it. So you can see now there's a massive amount, and if I put my hand against it, you can see how thick those poles are. So I'll just pull back a little bit. There you go. So all that's going to be logged. I use an electric, a little electric saw. It's a little jigsaw, and it's probably the cheapest one that you'd get. It's really for craft use, but I find that that's perfect for me to use in the barn for sawing little logs up. Just perfect. It takes all the hassle out of it. Now I've got a lot of the stringy sort of willow bits. That's all going to go down into the shredder. So that's going to be a massive amount of shredding. You can see this compost pile here. I need to just tidy up the edge and make sure that it doesn't keep falling out, because the birds go into that all the time, which is wonderful. And look, there's that little rabbit. He's peeking in and out all the time. So there we go. I've got a lot done this morning. I did have a cup of coffee. I only drank a little bit of it before I set off into this work. So I've just reheated it on the stove. So I'm going to go and have my coffee now. I'm going to sit down by the laptop. I'm going to get this little video uploaded. You can see now the back of the shed is quite clear, quite visible. I may just cut a little bit more of that laurel off down there. And yeah, pleased with what I've done so far. Really made a huge kind of a headway into the garden, into all the preparation for the summer, and because I really do want to concentrate on growing as much food this year, and especially with the success of my juice fast last year, I want to do some more juicing. And the best way to go, to do juicing is to literally grow your own greens, because it's the greens which give you that incredible burst of energy and just so many different phytonutrients that it's impossible to even begin to catalogue them, because most nutritionists don't even know the extent of the nutrition in food. We know the obvious stuff, but certainly last year I felt fantastic on my juice fast. Look at him. I think he's been juicing this morning. And what I've been enjoying, I must just tell you what I've been enjoying recently, over the past week. I think it was about a week ago, I bought a small sack of potatoes, and so I've been steaming them in the little pressure cooker, and over recent days I've been collecting up lots of kale, the curly kale, shredding it. That means just pulling it off the stem, because the stem can be quite bitter if you try to cook it. Pulling it off the stem, lightly frying it in my wok with a little bit of onion and maybe just a dessert spoon or so of coconut oil, organic coconut oil. Now I've got to say, because I've been reading stuff online about coconut oil being really good for anyone suffering with dementia or Alzheimer's, so therefore we're talking about the memory and the brain, aren't we? Well, there was a few words, names of plants that I kept looking at, and I couldn't remember the names of the plants. Now one of them was this silly one here, which I've called yucca, you see. I just called it yucca because it's very similar to the yucca plants that you'd grow in pots indoors. But in actual fact, the name is cordyline. And every time I looked at this plant, I thought, I can't remember the name of it. Well, since I've been frying up this kale, kind of very lightly frying the kale, then adding the cooked potatoes, right? Which gives me a feast of a dinner. But since I've been making this food, and I'm kind of inclined to, make the same thing over and over and over again to get fed up with it, my memory's improved fantastically. And I'm looking at this plant and I'm going, of course you're cordyline. How did I ever forget you were cordyline? So I'm just wondering to myself, I mean, there are elements in coconut oil, which are extracted now and being used as some kind of a superfood for anyone suffering with Alzheimer's. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube, so I suggest you just, Google is your friend, okay? But it's fascinating. It is simply fascinating. So anyway, I'm quite happy with my little kale and potato and a little bit of onion fried in coconut oil, just a little bit of coconut oil, and that gives me a beautiful, beautiful dinner. I'm salivating now just thinking about it. And I add a little bit of smoked paprika to it, and I add a little bit of chilli to it, just mild chilli. And yes, I know turmeric is really good, but I use turmeric in other things. But I'm just being mindful of what could possibly be the effects of having the coconut oil. Have I got the coconut oil to thank for remembering that the yucca isn't a yucca, it's a cordyline? Okay, time to go in, have my coffee, upload this little video, and have my, well, kind of a late breakfast. I think I'll just have banana and some rye bread and a little bit of wee bit of sesame butter on it. Yeah, as I've run out of almond butter now. It's all the birds over there. So big changes happening here at Bealtaine. Good time of the year to put in the work. And hopefully I'll come back later on with another video and show you what I've been doing over the course of the afternoon. So, blessings to you all.